Well, let's continue. I have already introduced the basics of the basic idea of the signal critique, which was actually the productivity increase created by education might be not critical in creating wage increase. Uh, well, what is the critical factor which increases the wage according to signal critique? It might be the fact that the education is showing potential employers whether a worker is productive or not productive. Um, how it is doing that? It does it in this way. The relatively productive workers, one, they consider to get education or not to get education. Uh, well, it is not increasing the productivity, but it is still difficult. Getting to the college and getting a degree is difficult. And what if those people are the people are skilled? They can relatively easily uh, go to study those uh, the courses in the departments they go and pass them easily and the school relatively fast. So and we assume that they already know this fact. So because they know this fact, uh, basically they prefer to get the education because they think they are able to finish the school relatively early and able to start to the jobs with the high wages early. So this um, this according to the um, signal and critique shows to the employers that those students who take the education and finish them able to pass through it fast are relatively more productive. Less productive workers, they might stay longer in the education, and in some cases they might drop out. And many, you might, in the strict neoclassical sense, might already know that and not get the education because waiting that long to get the degree might not work for them. And in that case, basically, uh, the fact that people don't get the education uh, or stay longer in the education might signal that those workers are less productive. Well, in most basic sense, the most productive people already know they will finish the college early, so they go to the education. So being a college graduate is a way to signal that you are more productive, you have more skills. And that means the people without that degree are considered as people without skills. Of course, is 4 years of college necessary for just showing that you have skills is a question. I mean, whether it's an efficient way to show that you have skills. And also, as you have seen, the question is it also a good way to test whether those skills exist or not? As we have seen, for example, in the great inflation case, I mean, maybe in some cases, um, at least some colleges are not properly testing the skills, even those skills basically. Um, However, this is one of the arguments, one of the major viewpoints stated in the labor economics. So I covered that, and you can evaluate it yourself, and you can think about it if you want. You can uh, look further to this idea also. Um, well, lastly, we might talk on two different type of training people might have, and training is usually, I mean, taken as type of education you got outside of the regular education system, the primary, secondary, schools, high school, and the colleges. Uh, Institutions might do that. Alternatively, the companies might organize trainings for their uh, workers. In extreme cases, actually, companies might even pay expenses for the master degree of their students. I mean, if they think that master degree would help them to be more productive in the factory. And the question is, when will the companies, the employers, will pay for the training cost education of their workers? This is one question, which is actually on which people are interested in labor economics, and when they will let the cost to be paid by them workers themselves. Well, the idea is this: if the education is teaching the people skills that can be used at any job, so increase potential productivity in any potential job, basically. Let me actually show you this way. So let's say let me use Excel actually. So with training, without training, let's say company A, other jobs. So without training, let's say 40 units will be produced. I mean, the value of the production value of the productivity of that worker is, let's say, quantified as 40 units. With training in company A, let's say the productivity increases, or the production level per hour increases to 100 units. If this increase is the same for other jobs, the guy can take in other actually companies. Well, in that case, since the increase in productivity potentially exists in any job he will take, that this worker will take, this worker will demand a wage increase which is proportional to to his or her productivity increase. If his wage was previously, for example, $10, now he wants his wage to be increased. How much is productivity increased? It has increased 100 divided by 40. So he will basically demand a 2.5 times higher wage. And if the company doesn't give him that wage, he can go to another company and work for them. And because of the competition between those companies, they will basically try to get this worker, and basically the guy will go to the company which will pay him highest wage, and ultimately there will be some company which will pay that person a wage which is proportional to his productivity. So if the company pays the education which increases this guy's productivity in a way that increase exists in all jobs this guy can take, in that case the company will, well, according to this model, this type of let's say framework, not benefit from that training, because all benefits, all increase in productivity, increase in income created by this training will go to the worker. Of course, in reality, we will see the companies have kind of a monopoly power on the workers, because even if that's not true for the training, the workers make company-specific investments. They know the working environment of the company. They know, for example, the specific, let's say, working traditions of the company. So when they quit the company and go to a different company, they initially, I mean, in the new company, they need to learn how to work in the company from the very beginning again. And in some companies, especially for skilled workers, that learning process might be longer. For unskilled workers, it might be relatively shorter. But the main logic is, if this monopoly power was not existing, in that case, in case of general training, all the benefit will go to the workers, so the company won't pay for any type of training which increases the general skills of the worker. I mean, training that increases the general human capital, let's say. But we might also have a specific type of training which might increase productivity in the company where the worker is working, but doesn't increase the productivity in the other companies. Well, in the other companies that person might work. In some cases, it might also be possible that the training increases the potential wage of this worker in other companies also, but not as much as the increase created in the company A. But let's talk on the extreme case. So if this worker goes to another company, the company will also offer him 40 unit, well, a wage which is given to which is same as this worker's pre-training wage. Still, of course, if the guy gets training and become more productive and gets the same wage from the company A, he might just in protest go to another company and basically continue to take the same wage. And to prevent this, the company might increase the wage of the worker to some extent, but the company doesn't need to increase the wage of the worker all the way to 2.5 times higher than the previous wage, because the worker is not able to get this amount of wage from other companies anyway. So if the company just increases the wage from 10 to 12 units dollar, for example, all of the companies will continue to give this worker $10. So basically, just increasing the wage to $12 might be enough to keep this worker in the company. So this type of training increases the specific human capital skills, which only increase your skills in the company A. It might be possible, for example, it's not 100% specific skill, of course, that's not even that much possible, as I said. In reality, actually, I mean, there is also some skills, any training increase to some extent also your productivity in potential other companies also. But for example, one example is large companies, for example. Usually there is a specific internet software which connects different departments of that company. And you learn that software when you enter to that company, but that company is just designed for, that software is just designed for that company. OttiClass is, for example, an example of that. Of course, those softwares are more or less similar. So if you learn the OttiClass system, then you might also learn the Near Eastern universities or Lefke European universities of Lefke's softwares easier. But still, of course, to some extent, those softwares will be different. So basically, part of the work I have done to learn OttiClass and the softwares of the Middle East Technical University will be wasted because to some extent, maybe not as much as I have put to learn Otti Middle East Technical University softwares, but to some extent I need to start over again to learn the softwares of those universities if I were to start to work in those universities. So any type of skill which is just useful in that company, not at sector even, that company, but nowhere else, is a specific skill in this case.